good morning, and I hope everyone had a happy first day of spring yesterday. But it's happy Thursday today, folks. So, yep, yesterday it went from being 24 with clear blue skies. Well, I say clear blue sky, really, since I woke up to go running, it was like somewhat pitch black and, oh, there were stars. That was really cool. But it went from that to 50 degrees and clear blue skies, which is awesome. Honestly, I think that may very well be the best first day of spring that I've seen in quite a long time. Like, seriously, I remember back in the days of St. Mary Mother where, like, there was like a stream of, school years where there was hardly any sunshine, it was cold, it was cloudy on the first day of spring, so this is actually a very nice change of pace. Although, fun fact about when I was at Gettysburg College, it actually would get warmer sooner. Like, I think the first time it got, like, legitimately warm, nice, and sunny, and you could actually wear shorts and a t-shirt at Gettysburg was St. Patrick's Day. This was my freshman year of college. First year. Sophomore year was awesome. It was like that on Valentine's Day. I'm like, all right, Gettysburg, that was actually one really nice thing about Gettysburg. I mean, don't get me wrong, it would get cold there, but it would still, like, it wasn't as unbearable as, like, what you would get in my home area. So that's awesome. And, yeah, I love that yesterday I just kept talking about winter-related stuff, even though it was the first day of spring. Well, it's now the second day of spring, and so I'll try and talk about winter a little bit less. Let's see. Man, winter was my only shtick. What am I going to do? I'm only kidding. Well, I guess one thing I can discuss, and it's something I keep forgetting to bring up, is that, I've really been following First We Feast on Instagram, and so they show off who the Hot Ones guest is several days before the episode premieres. And so today it's Theo Von. Outside of the fact that he's a comedian and that, no kidding, he kind of looks like Tom Brady if he had a mullet, I really don't know much about this guy. So, yeah, this should be a fun episode. But, I mean, I'm always hopelessly optimistic. I'm sure that whatever we get today is going to be entertaining, to say the least. Well, not really much going on this weekend from what I know. Although that was actually a really weird thing that I noticed this past weekend. I am an adult, so I would know a sort of thing like this all too well, but St. Patrick's Day is kind of known for a lot of celebration, let's say, right? And I don't know if it's because people knew that they would have to go to work the next morning, or if there was like a flu bug going around or something, but there was like nothing going on St. Patrick's Day as a whole in terms of any sort of like grand celebrations or, things like that. I mean, again, Saturday was that 10K that I ran. Well, you had the option to run the 5K, but I chose to run the 10K because, I am a grown man. But, and then after, in Horseheads, you had the, St. Patrick's Day Parade. But outside of that, nothing of great extravagance happened, I guess. I mean, well, actually, after the parade, there was like, I believe the Horseheads Fire Department had a traditional corned beef and cabbage dinner for anyone who wanted for anyone who celebrating St. Patrick's Day weekend who wanted that on Saturday after the horse size parade. So that's really cool. And if you didn't like corned beef, you had the option of ham. Personally, I like ham and corned beef. So, if I actually don't know if I could choose between the two, to be perfectly honest. I really don't. I mean, like most children growing up, corned beef is just one of those things where, I mean, on paper, it just sounds so unappetizing. And the first time I had it, I remember, sort of being it was really tender, but it was also like really fatty. But, as you get older, your taste buds develop, and now I love corned beef and cabbage. Actually, one thing that I'll do is, whenever I make corned beef and cabbage for myself, I'll actually do, a pseudo lettuce wrap thing or whatever, where, I'll steam the, corned beef, I'll put a, corned beef and cabbage in the crock pot, right? And, get the cabbage leaves all nice and soft and, pliable. And so I'll lay them out flat and I'll like slice the corned beef really thin, and then I'll sort of like roll it up along with whatever vegetables I put in there. I usually put in, potatoes, onions, carrots, celery. Carrots, onions, celery, the traditional mirepoix. Yeah, it's a culinary term. It's carrots, onions, celery is a mirepoix, which is an awesome sounding name. Interesting fact, in New Orleans, they have a Cajun version of that. Only instead of carrots, they use peppers. So that's really cool. You're actually learning some culinary terms today, ladies and gentlemen. So wait, I said it was called the Trinity, right? So yeah, so celery, onions, peppers, Trinity, carrots, onions, celery, mirepoix. There we go. Okay. So I'll like just make like a wrap out of that and eat it that way. Oh, that's awesome. It's the best. And if for whatever reason ham is ever around, ham is one thing that you can pretty much never go wrong with. Seriously, unless you're obligated to not eat ham based on your religious or dietary preferences, which, that's fine, that's cool, you do you. But outside of that, I can't think of anyone who doesn't like ham. I really do not. Ham is just one of those things where, like, again, ham is like, it's the sure thing unless there's something that you know for a fact is better. Usually it's a red meat, like lamb or beef. At least for me, anyway. But again, to each their own. I mean, we are coming up on Easter, so, why not talk about that? Actually, Easter is literally 1 month from today. So, we're actually sort of, It actually really hasn't been that long since Lent started, to be honest. I mean, it was March 6th when it started, and now it's the 21st, so over 2 weeks. So, yeah, like a month, which, that's fun. And, I guess the only thing that, I didn't really mention that I did this past weekend was, my father once told me that one of his all-time favorite movie is The Quiet Man. And so, I just stayed up and watched that before I went to bed, before they started showing, like, American Idol and, the AAF and stuff like that. So that was really cool. Although, I actually have a really funny story about The Quiet Man. And, one guy I've been watching since college is a guy by the name of Doug Walker, or the Nostalgia Critic. And one thing he does every December is something called Disney-cember, where he looks at a whole bunch of Disney movies, and he talks about them, he reviews them, what his thoughts are, stuff like that. The first year he did it was my junior year of college, and he did all the 2D hand-drawn animated movies. Snow White and Pinocchio and Fantasia, Dumbo, The Lion King, Aladdin, Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, Princess and the Frog, that list goes on, right? The next year, he did, well, actually, he made 2 exceptions the first year. The first year, he also did Tangled and Enchanted. I believe because Enchanted did have 2D animation in some parts, and Tangled, as he said, is a 2D animated movie in 3D animated clothing. I believe that's what the terminology was. So the next year, he does all the CG movies, everything from Pixar and movies like Meet the Robinsons and Bolt and stuff like that. And then the third year, he did all the live action ones. So, Bedknobs and Broomsticks, Mary Poppins, Pirates of the Caribbean. That list goes on too. But the third year he also did a movie called Darby O'Gill and the Little People. And no kidding, when he started the video, he says, "Are you ready to talk about a movie with more Irish stereotypes than The Quiet Man?" I'm like, yeah, that was funny. Fun fact, when I first started watching him, one of the very first things he ever did was the top 11 scariest nostalgic moments. See, he does top 11 because he likes to go one step beyond, if you will. And so, his number 1 was the Banshee from Darby O'Gill and the Little People. And a lot of people thought that was a weak number 1. But honestly, if I had seen it when I was a little kid, I know I would have probably been terrified of it. But and there are parts about it that are legitimately, scary. At least about the Banshee, not about anything else. But as a whole, I don't think I'd find it too frightening as, an adult. Again, if I was a kid, I probably would be horrified of it. Then again, if you saw Courage the Cowardly Dog when I was young, then you know exactly what scared you, or at least was the scariest thing the show ever produced. I'm not gonna say what it is. I'm not gonna do a creepy clip of it either. But if y'all in the know, then you know exactly what I am talking about. Let's see. Yeah. So, I'm watching The Quiet Man, and I'll tell you what though, this past St. Patrick's Day was a really great way to end winter. I always keep forgetting that St. Patrick's Day is right before the vernal equinox, or when spring starts. So, yeah. How about that? I guess it's fortuitous that way, that, St. Patrick's Day starts before spring. Because when you think about it, in springtime, the snow melts and you see a lot of green grass. And so, Ireland, St. Patrick's Day, is Ireland, promotes the color green. So, why not? I guess it fits. Although, whenever, this is actually one thing I have noticed a lot. And and it doesn't really bother me, but I know why it does bother some people. Just whenever a holiday that comes around that involves a particular saint or religious holiday, people just sort of tend to celebrate, the superficial things like lots of food and, having fun, as opposed to what, the true messaging is about. Valentine's Day or St. Patrick's Day or Easter. So, really, the only things I can tell you about St. Patrick himself was, for starters, the shamrock was a way of showing the traditional sign of the cross of the Holy Trinity. And he also got rid of the snakes in Ireland. So that's what St. Patrick did. That, just in case anyone didn't know that. In fact, actually, I think that's what I'll do. If it ever comes to a religious holiday where it talks about a saint, I'll talk about, what they did that made them famous. But now that I think about it, I did miss Valentine's Day. So, I guess I'll do Valentine's Day too. Why not? So, basically, around the time St. Valentine existed, for whatever reason, people weren't allowed to get married. They could live together, but they weren't allowed to get married. And so, St. Valentine performed, marriage ceremonies in secret to, so to allow people to be wed is what he did. That's why St. Valentine is really known for, a holiday of love. So there you go. And now I think about it, if I ever did the wings of death on hot ones, I would need to pray to somebody. So, yeah, that was a great way to end it, wasn't it? Like, favorite, share, and hit that subscribe button. I could really use support on YouTube. Follow me on social media platforms, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Tumblr. As always, I am very humble. I made this video for all of you guys to watch and enjoy for today. I'm very hopeful that we all have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful second day of spring, or Thursday. Get ready to watch some hot ones. And remember, if any of you guys don't want to talk or chat, I'm always going to be here to lend an ear. And I will always have your back. Take care and make good choices.